Hi, welcome back to misformeeple. My name's Mitch.
And my name's Morgan, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about our favorite board game accessories. Alright, our first favorite accessory is plain old plastic baggies. Can never have enough plastic baggies. One of our pet peeves that we forgot to mention in our last video is when you unbox a board game and you take all the pieces out and then you're putting it away.
There's not enough bags?
Yeah, and you realize there's not enough bags for the components that they gave you.
Right.
And then they're all just falling around in the box. Somebody is carrying the box to the car and it drops and the components are everywhere.
Who's in charge of putting bags in the box? Because clearly, I don't want to name names, but there was a couple specific games where we were 2 baggies too short.
Or they give you a bag and it's like they don't fit. Which,
again, you get one of these little guys.
What's supposed to go in there?
For hexagon tiles that are this big.
Right. Anyways, but we have gotten board games that give you way too many bags, and we
it's such a treat.
Love that.
Yeah.
So what we do is we just save all of those excess baggies so that when we do get a game that doesn't give you enough, we have them on hand.
That's right. Save your baggies, folks.
Yeah, and that way you don't have components going all over the place. We like to store most of our board games vertically. And if you don't have your components in bags, the boxes will shift and the components will go everywhere and it's a big mess. So baggies are a lifesaver. So that is our first favorite accessory, plastic bags. So that is one of our favorite accessories is plastic bags.
Next thing we want to talk about are board game straps. Now these are fantastic if you want to take your board games traveling. They are excellent for keeping the lids of your boxes closed. You can see that they have one for each side of your board game that you have. And then your board game will just fit nicely in there. And it's excellent for board games to where they're bursting at the seams. You got a bunch of components in it, or you've got expansions that are shoved in the box, or if it's a poorly organized game that just has the pieces that are thrown into it, and you don't have enough baggies to organize everything and they're kind of falling out, this is going to ensure that that lid doesn't fall open. And for these ones, we got a couple different sizes.
It came in a set.
Yeah, it came in a set.
Mm-hmm. It had a small, medium, and a large.
Small, medium, and large. We a couple different sizes. I believe I have the large and medium shown here. And these are just fantastic for traveling because it just ensures that when you go in your game bag or your travel bag, however you're transporting your board games, that nothing's going to get moved around. Everything's going to be contained in that box. And it's kind of a relief because we've had a couple disasters to where just components are falling over. A board game has fallen out of the bag that we are using.
Or we're transporting them to and from the car and, or you're in the car and you go to a red light and the board game shift in the back seat and then the pieces and cards are all over the place and that's how you lose pieces, but not with these straps.
There's a couple games on our shelf that actually have these on them just kind of permanently because the lids are so loose on it. And since we stack them vertically, it kind of just slowly drifts open.
Well, yeah, even like you mentioned with poorly organized board games like New York Slice. There's all of these cardboard slices of pizza, but there's no box insert. So you have to have them perfectly stacked the right way in the box in order for the lid to completely close flat. But the moment you go to move the box around, those pieces are shifting because they're big triangles. So they never stay where they're supposed to, and then you get the box drift issue, and the pieces go everywhere, and so we permanently have a box strap on that game.
Yep, we'll just show you real quick. Maybe we'll cut to it. Yeah, so here's what it looks like when it's on one of the boxes. You can see that it goes all the way around, covers all 4 edges of the board, and that thing's pretty tight. If I can just try and grab the lid of the box here, that thing's not going anywhere. And it's not damaging the box either.
Because they're soft.
Yeah, it's a soft elastic that's not indenting the box. as I say that, I'm looking that this box is dinged up for other reasons because we've dropped it and transported it without it so many times. But it's not from the strap itself. It's the strap's keeping. Hear that?
All the pieces secure.
Yeah, everything's in there.
Yeah.
So that's board game straps.
All right, and the next upgrade that I'd like to talk about is board game stickers. So I only recommend this one for like your favorite games. So if you've watched some of our other videos before, you know that Parks is one of my favorite games. So I found these stickers on Etsy from a shop called Levity Games. We will link them down below. They have stickers for a bunch of different games available, and they just go right over like your little meeples for the game. This one, it just kind of makes it look like a drawing on the little animal tiles here. And then we also, from the same company, purchased stickers for the camels and Camel Up. And it just kind of gives the game like more life, you know, makes it more colorful, makes it a little bit more unique, especially if it's a game that you really enjoy. It just makes your copy more special.
Your meeples or tokens just pop when you put stickers on them rather than having that flat color like picture to it. It's like this right here could be like, it really makes it pop like sunshine.
Yeah.
And like this makes it really look like a water droplet. And just imagine like these animals, these buffalo or bats without it, they're brown tokens.
Right,
like
and
it just adds that extra level of detail.
Yeah, and while it does take a bit of time to put all the stickers on, it really does make the game look just so much better. So like I said, I definitely only recommend doing sticker upgrades if it's a game that you really enjoy and that you play a lot. It's definitely not worth it for, you know, a game that you're not interested in. But yeah, it really helps to kind of spice up some of your favorite games. So yeah, stickers.
All right, next thing we want to talk about are dice trays. Now, dice trays are an easy way to keep your dice on one space on your table. It's excellent whenever you're playing any game that has dice that you're rolling. If you ever have that problem where you're rolling the dice and they're going halfway across the table or they're hitting other pieces, a nice dice tray that snaps together is fantastic because it's going to keep your dice in your little play area and you're not going to inconvenience anyone. And we have a couple different, this is like more like a dice mat that rolls out. If let's say you're playing on a glass table, we have this nice little, roll mat, so that way it's not messing it up. We have a lot of dice from D&D that are gemstone that could kind of scratch glass. So it's nice having just a little mat, a little area towards a designated roll space that you're not going to interfere with the board or other players. And like something like this over here where it's got the lip that keep them inside, it makes any roll and write or dice chucking game so much better because you don't have to chase your dice. I love it.
Especially when you don't have like a whole lot of table space, like saying you're playing it on a patio and there's just like a tiny like side table. A dice tray works really good for that so that you don't lose the dice. Or like Mitch was saying, if you don't want to scratch up the table or if there's a lot of people playing, dice trays are pretty cheap. I know Amazon has them if you're in the United States. They don't scratch up the table. They don't like make the dice bounce. We really enjoy using dice trays when we're playing board games.
Around. Yeah, it's just so nice having them all stay in that same spot, and you don't even got to worry about it. I love it. I love dice trays. I mean, those ones kind of go everywhere, but this one doesn't have a lip. It's mainly for protecting your hard surface table. Yeah. Dice trays.
Okay, the next accessory on our list is a board game scorebook. I mean, you can just simply use like a notepad, but I bought this for Mitch's birthday, and we like kind of keeping track of our games in here, keeping track of who wins and who loses. It's just a good way to keep track of like the games that you're playing, games that you want to try to like knock off your list, like Shelf of Shame games.
There's a lot
that you need to play. So I got this on Etsy. It's just kind of like a personalized scorebook, but just a simple dedicated board game notebook would probably do just fine. But this is one of our favorite accessories to have and kind of document our board gaming journey.
Next, we have playmats. Now, some playmats can go right on top of your game table. Other playmats come board game specific, which have the board layout itself already on there. So this one is set up for Chai, and we have a couple other board game play mats.
Like Radlands.
Yeah, Radlands is an excellent one because it shows you exactly where your cards go, and with Chai, it shows you exactly where the cards go for that game as well. So it's just a nice way to upgrade your experience and have that easily laid out.
And these mats are awesome because they're like neoprene mats, so it's real easy to pick up the cards off of them.
If you get like chip dust on there, if anyone's eating chips for whatever reason, you can just flick that off. After the game's over, of course, you don't want to flick the whole game board experience out. But play mats are excellent, especially when you do a roll and write or any rolling game. They bounce so well off of the neoprene mat. Yeah, it's a very nice experience and a great way to upgrade your board games.
Or even picking up cards, like I said earlier, like we've been playing on game mats for so long. Playing like a card game on a normal table, sometimes it can be like frustrating trying to pick up the cards.
Yeah, you just pick at them for the longest time, and it's like they're so flush with the table. When you have that game mat, you have that little bit of give to where you can give it a little push and get underneath it.
Yeah, it makes dealing cards really easy, and it just overall makes your gaming experience just a little bit better.
Yeah, playmats, they're fantastic. And a lot of times they have a little bit different artwork than like the board game, the board itself.
And there are so many different ones available. Like I said, there are ones specific to actual board games themselves. You can buy just play mats for specific games, or you can just get kind of general neoprene mats on Amazon or just online if you Google them.
We have a couple general ones, a couple a blue cover of medium and large, and then we have a smaller one, a larger fantasy one too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So game mats.
Game mats. All right, the next accessory on our list is a dedicated board game bag. So this is the one, we have a few different types, but this is the one I say we use the most often.
Yeah. Let's show them the depth of it.
So it's just a big square, so you can fit a lot of like Ticket to Ride sized boxes in here. Mm-hmm. But the reason we really enjoy it is because it has this clear side, so you can easily, without having to take all the games out of your bag, turn it around and be like, what game do you want to play?
Right.
Rather than taking them all out and then trying to like refit them back into the bag to get them to fit.
You could easily see what's down at the bottom of the bag, yeah. So it's nice. And then on the side here you have these little mesh nets. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we use this one all the time when we're carrying games back and forth to our friend's house or our parents' house. But we also have a few like big rectangle ones that fold up really nice. They do make some like board game backpacks. But I definitely recommend, if you are going to a lot of game nights, getting yourself like a good dedicated board game bag. I
know for a little while we used like a high quality grocery store bag to where we didn't have a game board bag specific, but it was just nice when we made that move to upgrade to that, because like I said, like you said, that transparent front just made all the difference rather than having to pull everything out.
Or even it just makes it so much easier to carry them to and from. Like if you use like a high quality grocery bag, there's the chance that it could rip, or your games just don't quite fit the way that you want them to in those bags because they're typically skinnier. Yep. Then you get that box drift issue when they're not all, stacked on top of each other. So yeah, board game bags definitely improve your
a board game bag
experience.
In conjunction with some board game straps ensures like you won't have any problem transporting your games.
Yes, exactly.
So now I want to talk about component trays. Now component trays are going to be excellent for organizing your table with the various components that are coming in the game. This could be the currency that's in the game, or wooden tokens, or resources that you're going to get. Now the component holders or component trays that we use have magnets embedded on the side of them. So they're actually going to snap in place right next to each other, and you can make any hexagonal shape that you want with these. Now there's other component trays that are out there that have dividers going down the middle. Sadly, we don't have those ones.
Right.
And there's also alternatives to these that you can get. There are the silicone cupcake holders. I've seen a lot of people use those. Look excellent. These kind of have quite a large surface area, so they do take up a little bit more of your table to where the silicone cupcake holders seem about a third of the size of these, while having a greater depth to hold more vertically that way. But I just love the aesthetic look of these wooden component trays that we got on an Etsy store, and we'll link that
below.
We'll link that down below, because this store was really nice about getting these out to us.
We really enjoyed it too, because it just kind of looks board gamey with it being hexagon, and a lot of board games incorporate like hexagons into their
tiles or tokens, yeah.
And we usually most often play with these like in a straight line, so at the end of like our gaming space, we just have all the components kind of lined up. Sometimes we use it in specific games, like if your player area has a lot of pieces, like Project L, where you're acquiring like your own.
Yeah, everyone
shapes.
just has one of these in front of you, and you can keep your own personal supply.
Components in their area. They're just really nice, and the magnet feature of these are just fantastic. We really enjoy these component trees a lot. But again, you can just use any sort of, plastic cup. You can go to a craft store and just get little, trays for jewelry or beads, and those will work equally as well. But these are our favorite ones to use.
Yeah, these are excellent.
Okay, now I want to talk about upgraded components. So definitely only recommend doing this for your favorite games or most loved games. These are from the board game Cabitos. So I've never played Cabitos before. It's a dice drafting game.
A dice
builder game.
Dice builder, pool builder.
Yeah, and the dice come in these like little cardboard boxes, which you have to assemble, and then the dice go inside them. And the more we've played that game a lot, and the boxes get ripped
they
really
start falling
easily
apart,
because they're like thin paper. So I found these on Etsy, and they're just a great alternative to those boxes. They are color coded according to the dice. And there's this little slot that you can keep all of the dice in. And then there is a additional slot up here that you can put the card in that goes, tells you what the dice do. So it just works really well for this game. So we found this on Etsy, and we will link them down below. But these are just great. Like, it just makes the experience so much better. It makes the cleanup so much easier. It has even like an etched printing of the dice logo on each of the boxes, and we have one for all of the dice. But these are just great. The slot works really good, and then it locks into place.
Yeah, the lock and the sliding door on these are fantastic.
Yeah, and they're just 3D printed, but they're really awesome upgrades, and it's like a storage solution, and it makes the game better because you can just leave them in there, pop the card in, and you're ready to play Cabitos. You don't have to dump the dice out, refold it, put the dice on top, and it just looks so much better on the table. So those are the upgraded components that we found for Cabitos. Alongside that, going with the same upgraded components, we love metal coins. So anytime we have a game that we really like, we almost always have to get metal coins for it. They just feel so much nicer when you're playing the game. It kind of makes it feel like more realistic, I would say.
Did you hear that sound?
I did.
That sounded fantastic. These
feels more realistic when you're playing. The weight of it feels really nice. It just goes along with like high quality components in board games, and it just makes the experience more.
I feel like
fun.
In a fantasy world, like you're like kind of like here's 3 shillings to like.
Yeah, it adds to that immersive.
It adds to that. I mean, this is a game we haven't played, though. I think this is the first game we got upgraded components before playing it.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean, and we got a lot of upgraded components for it. So going along with that,
you can also get realistic components. So these are wooden components, stone components for the game Scythe. But I know on MeepleSource you can get realistic components, just kind of generic ones that you can use for a multitude of games. MeepleSource also has customized meeples that you can use. These just have like really
Those are metal bars.
Yeah, little metal bars for the game, and it just, like I said, makes it feel, more realistic and adds to that level of immersion.
We gotta get this to the table soon, because this looks fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just imagine going from, like, a small cardboard token to, like, a little metal bar. That's awesome. The weight in your hand when you grab one of these is fantastic.
So
I love it.
I would definitely recommend checking out Meeple Source because, like I said, they have kind of generic upgraded components that you can use for a wide variety of games. But definitely check out Meeple Source. We'll also link them down below. They have a bunch of upgraded components that you can use for games. They have customized meeples that you can use for specific games. And it's just a really great website if you want to upgrade your components.
All right, and the last board game accessory I want to talk about is a game topper or a board game table. Now, a game topper is a cheaper alternative to a board game table, as what we use in all of our videos, this topper just sits on top of an existing table, and it's got this nice play mat with a hardwood underneath, aluminum rails, and a card holder lining going all the way around the table. Now, along with the card holder, it also has this rail system on the side for these cup holders or component parts where you can pop these down to fit almost any style mug, and it just slides in there. You can't really see it at that camera angle, but I'll use B-roll later. So you have a single cup holder, and then they also have a cup holder that has two cup holders on it. And the real nice part about these, not only do they go inward to fit bigger cups, you can pop this whole thing out and rinse it off should someone spill their drink inside and get the inside sticky. But what I really like about these is it keeps people's drinks off of the table, so you don't got to worry about them spilling it onto the board, onto your play mats, or on your components or your cards.
Yeah, I love the card holder on top because, like Mitch said, it keeps your cards off of the table, so you have so much more gaming space. You can play a larger game, and even if your table that you're playing it on is somewhat small, like your actual gaming space is maximized because you're keeping your drinks and your cards off the actual game space. So it's really nice. And then the reason why we like the game toppers over an actual board game table is when you have an actual board game table, you're kind of locked in.
You're committing that space to be strictly for board games.
You are. It's heavy to move. You can't transport it, and you're stuck with whatever color felt that you want on your table.
Yeah.
With the game topper, you can just get whatever kinds of mats that you want. We have a few different ones. You just roll it up, put down the new one, and boom, you've changed your entire table.
It's impressive how much that the mat itself just kind of changes the whole not experience, but the look of it.
Yeah. They do make different ones where the aluminum rail is wood, so they have a couple different. And
I think they have two different types of woods too, right?
Yeah, light wood and a dark wood, I believe.
And then there's all kinds of different sizes. We have the Watson size, I believe.
Yeah, we have the Watson.
Which for filming purposes, we break it in half. And
that's another awesome thing is that you can break it in half and put a rail on it to make it smaller.
Yeah, when we break it in half, we can put the rail on our coffee table and play games in our living room, or we can combine the two halves to make the full-size table and play on the dining room. At this stage in our board gaming hobby, it fits all the needs that we need.
And
fits all the needs that we need.
Should you be going somewhere to someone else's house, you can pack up the whole board game table in a bag and take it somewhere else.
It does come with a travel bag. It is a little heavy to carry, but not as heavy as I would have thought with how large the table is.
But it just opens up the possibilities. Like if you decide to move your board game room to a different room in the house, or you're moving, you can easily pack it up and move it wherever you want to go. If you change tables, that's no problem. You can actually get legs for this and make it a table.
That's why I really wanted to go with this, because when we do decide to finish the basement, I would like to just get the leg kit for the table, so that way we can make that dedicated space in our basement a board game room and just transition this from a topper to a full-fledged table. And they also make leaf extensions for it, so that way you can increase the size of the table itself.
And these are the third of the cost of a custom gaming table.
They're not a sponsor, but this is something more people need to know about because they're so fantastic.
We get so much use out of ours, and it's just a really upped our gaming experience since we've got one. So I know they use these a lot at board game conventions from what we've seen in videos. But yeah, after owning one of these, I don't think I ever want to have a custom board game table because the cup holders you can move around. It goes on a rail. If it's too close to you, you can move it to the other side. With a normal table, you can just move the cup holders.
There are elaborate board game tables that do feature that, but all the ones that I've seen are near $3,000, and this was roughly half the cost of that.
But that is for the size that we got.
Mm-hmm.
They do vary in price depending on what size that you get.
Mm-hmm.
But like even like the cup holders that it comes with, like you can fit pretty much any drink
they're so
in
versatile.
there. It's not just a cup holder that you can't fit a mug in or you can't fit a glass of wine. They make wine holder for this table too. So I don't know, we really enjoy it, and this has been our favorite board game accessory by far.
When you go from playing on a regular table to playing on a actual board game table, you don't want to go back.
Mm-hmm.
It's not needed. It doesn't increase the board game. It doesn't make a board game better. It just makes the experience easier for anyone. So that way you don't have to worry about the spilling a drink. You don't have to worry about where your cards are going to be. It makes everything a little bit nicer. But it's not going to make a bad game good.
Yeah, it won't make a bad game good, but it makes the experience, it elevates the experience.
Yeah, when we have people over and they play on our table and they're just like, wow, this was really fun. Mm-hmm. Like, this was really cool that you had. And it's like, yeah, that makes me feel good that people enjoyed the experience we were able to give them by having a board game topper.
And they make a cover too, so if you did just want to use it as a normal table, you could do that also.
I forgot about those. Yeah, mm-hmm. They got all sorts of accessories for these.
Yeah, but this is game toppers. We'll link them down below also. This has just been kind of a list of our favorite board game accessories. Let us know down in the comments what your favorite board game accessories are. If you'd like to know more about any of the accessories that we talked about, just let us know.
And if you like what you saw, be sure to like and subscribe. Click that bell to get notified of our next video, which we release every Sunday. My name's Mitch.
And I'm Morgan. And we're misformeeple.
All right.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.